Oh, yes, we are back. We are back. We are live. We promised you 31 days of content, and by golly darn it, we're giving you these 31 days, whether it be stream, video, or shorts. And unfortunately, my partner over here is not allowing me to do shorts for some reason. For some reason, if I don't do a video and I don't put one out early enough, I have to come on here and do a live stream. But I am grateful to be here. How are you tonight, Yolanda?
I am doing fantastic. Good evening, Hendo, and everyone in the chat. How are you tonight?
I'm well. Listen, it's Thursday night football. It's the only thing that we really have to look forward to this week because the Baltimore Ravens are unfortunately on a bye right now. So we don't really get to watch much football. We do get to check out the competition. We do get to see what other teams are doing. Hopefully, Ravens fans are out there looking at these other teams and seeing exactly what they have going on and seeing exactly what other teams do to build their rosters. And this is why we're watching the Detroit Lions game, because we were particularly wanting to see possible competition for the Baltimore Ravens. And the question being asked, if you looked at the title of the video, is are the Baltimore Ravens true Super Bowl contenders? So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about some moves that have been made, should be made, upcoming things like that. We're going to just discuss some stuff. So let's get it started. What are your thoughts, Yolanda, on are the Ravens truly Super Bowl contenders in your eyes?
Ooh. First, let me start by saying it depends. It depends on whether some swift and serious changes are going to be made during this bye week. Mm-hmm. We have all of the makings to be a Super Bowl contending team. But yes, I'm going to continue to look to my left, your right, because I'm watching the game on my laptop here. And as I watch the Lions, I know we blew them out of the water last year. Mm-hmm. But this is a different team right now. And I'm looking at the Lions with the Ravens in mind. And I said to myself, wow, this is a Super Bowl contending team, the Lions. So the Ravens, we can't afford to be inconsistent. Mm-hmm. We can't afford to have penalties. And we certainly can't afford to have drama surrounding our team, taking away from the focus and the concentration. So at this time, I think we could be a Super Bowl contending team, but it's going to take a Herculean effort to get us there. What about you?
Herculean effort. For me, it depends. There are some games when I watch the Baltimore Ravens, I look and see a team that I think that nobody in the league can stop. I look and say, listen, Derrick Henry's rolling, Lamar's throwing the ball all over the field. This defense, a little shaky, I'm a little skeptical with them, but they were blowing teams out. They were at one point the top scoring team in the league. They were number one in offensive yardage. But then there are games like the Las Vegas game. There are games like the Cleveland game. There are games that we just don't look like we know what we're doing. We're disjointed. We're not in sync. Like, it just is like we forgot who we are at times. We forget to run Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson misses some passes. Like, the offensive line, to me, and the reason we're watching the Lions game, is just downright terrible. So it's good to actually watch a game and see good offensive line play. We see the Lions, they have arguably the number one offensive line in the league. And what helped them get there was actually, I can't say stealing away one of our own. They got one of our own in Kevin Zeitler. I think he signed like a $5-6 million contract, which is pretty cheap for a starting guard. And I think he may be playing at an all-pro level right now. And that is something that we sorely need. So for me, as we stand right now currently, I don't think that the Ravens are truly a Super Bowl team.
Don't even get me started on Kevin Zeitler. Good evening, everyone in the chat. I see you. Thank you all for joining. Surprise pop-up live stream. I tell you all the time, and I'm going to say it again, make sure you have your post notifications turned on, because during this month of December, you don't know when you are going to see my face, his too, all up on your screen. So be prepared. But don't get me started on Kevin Zeitler, because when I watch him, I say to myself, Now look at Kevin Zeitler on that O-line, blocking defenders, moving men back, standing his own, staying upright, not laying on the ground. Things that we see in our interior O-line.
Right.
So, yeah, all the things that I'm looking at him to say, he's doing what I want our interior O-line to do. And we had no good reason, no business letting him go for that cheap. You mean to tell me the Ravens could not afford $5 million for that caliber and quality of play?
I'm going to go with yes, they could have. We didn't need the rest of Tre'Davious White's contract. We didn't need the rest of Desmond King's contract. We didn't need to pay $1 million to Eddie Jackson. We didn't have to get Chris Wormley to pull. There are a myriad of players that the Ravens did not have to sign and could have ponied up the money to bring in a starting caliber guard or to bring him back, so to speak. They brought back some other guys that I feel like we could have done without. Like, yes, Malik Harrison has been playing well the last couple of games, but he is a player that I felt like we can have a cheaper replacement to do what he's doing on the field. Now, looking at this game and thinking about the offensive line, I actually looked up some stuff. And I know, for the last week, we've been blaming John Harbaugh and his mismanagement, his coaching malpractice, so to speak. But I wanted to take it a step further and look at Eric DeCosta. The man, the cook, the chef, the guy that's always in the kitchen
cooking,
bringing up the recipes for the Baltimore Ravens. And I did a study on the offensive lineman that he has brought in since he's been the general manager in 2019. So it goes a little something like this. 2019. Baltimore, he drafted Ben Powers. Now, a lot of people will say Ben Powers was a hit, but to me, he wasn't a hit because he only came on during his last season, during a contract year. Right. He's a solid offensive lineman right now, but really did nothing for us. 2020, Tyree Phillips, Ben Bredesen, New York Giants. That says enough. 2021, Ben Cleveland, mismanaged him. 2022, Tyler Linderbaum. As much as I want to give him credit for that one, I can only give him so much credit because we needed a center, and he was the best center available. So it was a no-brainer. But I do give him credit for trading back up.
Yeah,
he gets credit for that.
Certainly.
Also in that draft, he took Daniel Faalele.
The next year, Molly Sala.
Next year, Sala and Andrew Voorhees, the one that was going to come in, save the offensive line. 2024, Roger Rosengarten. Solid. Yes. I think he's going to do well in the future, but as of right now, he's a rookie learning the ropes. Yeah. And he brought in Nick Samek. No game experience. So to me, looking at the travesties that he's done to this offensive line, knowing that since 2019, for 7 seasons, you have literally brought in 6 seasons, you brought in nobody.
Yeah.
Why do you not go out here and fortify this offensive line? Don't tell me how good this offensive line is going to be in a year from now. I want my Super Bowl this year. I want 2024 written on that Lombardi trophy. So if you know that you have a problem drafting wide receivers, you know that you have a problem drafting offensive linemen, why are we going through this? You had one in-house. You had one that should have made the Pro Bowl his last season with us. He's been steady. He may not have been the greatest, but this year he's proven, hey, I'm not going anywhere. So I think that this is another way that they've mismanaged this team, and this is another reason why we may have taken a step back in our pursuit of a Super Bowl.
Oh, I just hope we have not regressed in, like you mentioned, in our pursuit of chasing this Lombardi. Hi there, Jesus. Exactly. It's the struggle. The struggle is real for this Ravens offense, largely attributed to this offensive line. But again, as I'm watching the Lions out here with their formidable offensive line and their formidable defense, right? My question to you and everyone in the chat, please weigh in on this. Look, if you're watching if you're watching the game and you've been watching it since the beginning of since the game started, what are your thoughts? Please leave a comment in the chat. What are your thoughts about if we were to match up against this Lions team, very good Lions team, let's say a week from now? How do you think that matchup would go?
Listen, I think it would be a good matchup. I don't think it would be anywhere close to the blowout that it was. No, I think it would be a good matchup because I think that the Lions have regressed a little bit only because they have like 13 players on IR and they lost their most important piece in Aiden Hutchinson. So because of that and some other things, I think that it would make the game a little bit closer than it normally would have been. Plus, yes, our defense has played a lot better since the beginning of the season. But you got TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, to some extent, David Montgomery. You have all of these offensive weapons. Do you honestly think right now that the way that we're playing right now, we could actually stop them? The only people, and I know they say this about the Ravens, the only people stopping Detroit right now is Detroit. And I'm not saying that if we met them in the Super Bowl, they would beat us, but I do think that it would be a lot closer game than it was last year.
Us against the Ravens right now, I'm going to say, coming off of the way we looked last week against the Eagles, because that's really all that we can go with. You go do the last thing I told you until I tell you to do something different. That's kind of what my parents used to tell me. But seriously. But the last game that we played against the Eagles, if that team takes the field
right
against this Lions team that I'm watching right now, that would be a huge task. And even to your point, and I see it in the chat, Sean. Hey there. How are you, Sean? Hope you're doing well. But they brought in, I'm going to get to see Nightmare Killer just coming here kicking up dust every time. But I'm going to get to him in a minute.
Okay.
But Aiden Hutchinson, you're right. Their best player, their best defensive player out for the season. But they signed Zadarius Smith. And so far in this first half, Zadarius Smith is picking up the slack. So, yes, is there some drop-off between Aiden Hutchinson and Zadarius Smith? Probably. But is it significant? I don't think so. Obviously, there's going to be some level. You've got what is Aiden, second year, third year?
I think he's going into his third year.
Okay, third year player.
No. He's going. Yeah, third year.
Sure
He came out with a Jabo.
That's third year. Okay.
Touchdown.
So there you go, Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown. This is my point. Their red zone, their end zone, red zone accuracy is just.
The efficiency's off the charts.
It is. It really, really is. And credit to our defense for improving, right? I don't want to come here and just rag on our team. I'm not going to do that. Credit to our defense for improving. Are they able to slow this offense down? I don't know. They might. They might be able to hold them to some field goals, maybe. Can they get some 3 and outs? Perhaps. Right. Can they generate turnovers? Because when you play a team that looks as good on offense as well as defense, and that's one thing about the Lions. One thing that we want as Ravens fans is balance. We want 4 quarters of complementary football. We don't want our offense to do great and our defense to do poorly, and then flip the switch where our defense does great and our offense does poorly. We don't want that. We want balance, and don't even bring in special teams into the conversation, okay?
Let us not.
But that's what I'm seeing from the Lions. Can we get there? We're right around the corner, I think.
Right.
But it's going to take some serious discipline, focus, and adjustments. That's the way we get there.
100%. Go, man. You said we run the NFC. Come on, y'all. What's our record in our last one game versus the NFC?
Exactly. You're right, Go Man. Hey there, Go Man. Thanks for coming by. You're right.
0-1. We're 0-1 in our last one game. So my question is, if we face the Eagles in the Super Bowl, are you confident that we could beat them? And they didn't have all their pieces.
And I want to add to that question. Are you confident that we can beat them given what you saw, 3 days ago? 4 days ago? Don't forget that. Don't just gloss over how we performed against the Eagles. Don't just skip it like, okay, yeah, okay. Add that and factor it into your analysis because it is what it is. Now, we did not get blown out. It wasn't a situation where they came and they just stomped us from from here to there and everywhere. No, that's not the case. But no matter how close of a game it is, it's either you win or you come in second place. For us, we came in second place. Oh, right. Osmond, he said, we have to get there first. Now, see, Osmond,
So
That's
listen,
that's even painful to say, but
listen. So we have to get there.
yeah.
Not saying that it's not a wish. It's not a. We have to get to the Super Bowl this year, and it's not just because I want Lamar Jackson to win a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
shut down the noise. We have to get to a Super Bowl because after this season, we have a lot of free agents coming up, a lot of them. Starting off with Ronnie Stanley. If Ronnie Stanley feels slighted in any way that he had to take a pay cut and says, "Yo, I'm going somewhere else," regardless of how much the Ravens offer me, we don't have a contingency plan for our left tackle. We also could possibly lose Brandon Stevens. I know a lot of people love to see him leave. We can lose our Darius Washington, so that's 2/3 of our starting defense. We could lose Pat McCarry. Goodbye. Nelson Aguilar. See
Stop.
you later.
See how you did that? You see
What's
that?
What happened?
We could lose Pat McCarry, and then what did you say? Goodbye. Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar. See you later. Malik Harrison could be gone. Ben Cleveland, he's most likely out the door. We could lose Tylen Wallace. And to some fans, I know this is not going to make a lot of people truly happy. We could lose Hard or Ricard. What will we do? I'm sorry. My apologies.
No, you're not sorry.
I apologize. We might lose Hard Ricard. So what will we ever do without a fullback on this team? How can we have an offense where we bring in an extra skill player that can actually play and have skills? If we lose a fullback in 2025, how can we do it?
Mercy. I just want to take a quick second. Hey, Nana, thank you for being here. Thanks for joining. I just want to take a quick second to give a huge shout out to one of my channel members who is here. She is with us tonight, Just Tornado. Thank you for being a channel member. And if you would like to
JT.
Channel member as well, you can head over to Ravens Talk with Yolanda and click on the join button that is in the description box, and it'll bring up all of the tiers to which you can choose from, just a way for you to further support the channel. I do want to go back to Go Man's comment. He said Harbaugh and company are cooking up. I have to say this, Go Man, this is not what I said. This is someone else. Someone said in a recent live stream, they said, yes, EDC is cooking. He's cooking up missed field goals, a missed extra point attempt, botched assignments at the O-line, and an L to the Eagles. He's cooking. I didn't have anything else to say to that because he was right. So we'll see if they're cooking something. I don't know. I don't have faith in that, but we'll see.
Both of them, though?
He said
what? Listen, my thing is, I'll say Sashi Brown cooking up. The rest of them,
Sashi Brown. That is an instantaneous. He is not cooking anything, and I'm very disappointed in him. We're not here to talk about Sashi Brown and my for him. So no,
I ain't going nowhere.
Now he does not going anywhere. You're stuck with him, Kamal. You're just kind of stuck. And Brodney, I saw you earlier. What'd you say? I have some trade offers.
He wants you to agree to the trade offer he offered you like last week or something.
Oh, he knows how he can message me, and he hasn't done it. But I know he did mention it in the last live stream, so that is my bad. I didn't go on. That app is just too busy. It's a lot of stuff going on. Hey, Killer Cam. But yeah, Go Man says we're trying to win. And I think the operative word in your sentence is trying, and we'll give credit for that, right? There's credit for effort, but at the end of the day, no coach quarterback duo, head coach quarterback duo have ever won a championship after 5 years of being paired together, and we're well beyond Lamar Jackson's 5th year. So if you look at it statistically, and not just, I think we're going to do good, going out here on a whim and a prayer. But if we look at the statistics, the odds are stacked against us. 100%. It's not in our favor. That's not to say that we are counted out. That's not to say, well, you know what, let's just go ahead and tank for the season because we're not going to do much anyway. That's not to say that. But it is to say, let's be realistic about it and understand where we are as a team today. And what we saw against the Eagles, that type of showing would not get it done against what I'm seeing right now in the Lions.
Thanks. Who do Killer Cam? And Go Man, listen, in my opinion, I believe everybody is almost trying to win. But you cannot tell me that you are trying to win a Super Bowl when you have a franchise quarterback who has outperformed any expectation that you ever had for him, because you will never get me to believe that John Harbaugh nor the Baltimore Ravens front office thought that Lamar would be this type of passer. Yet and still, they surround him with an offensive line that is from the island of misfit toys. Like they just take stuff off the scrap heap, throw it together, and say, "Go ahead and protect him as best you can. We'll be good in a couple years or so." You give him weapons that Lamar makes look a lot better than they really are, and say, "Look, see, we didn't need the number one receiver coming in here from the trade deadline. We got these guys, but once they disappear in games, then it's like, oh man, we might need some help." So tell me how they're trying to win. That's my question. You have a tackle that's never played guard in the NFL. You move him to guard. He's not playing well, but yet and still you leave him in there. You drafted someone who John Harbaugh asked for himself. He asked for Ben Cleveland, then decides not to play him. You take a guy who injured himself during the scouting combine and comes in, misses his first year, and you throw him into a starting lineup to protect your franchise quarterback. So you tell me how you really believe that they're really and truly are trying to win. They got Derrick Henry this year. I give them credit for that. But what about the years prior? What about the years when we had Kenyon Drake, Le'Veon Bell? What about those years when it was like, yo, get Lamar a real running back so he doesn't have to carry this team and lead his team in rushing year in and year out? We didn't do it. They just said, Lamar, go out there, do whatever you can, win a couple games, make us a bunch of money, and we'll go on from there.
Want to say hello. Hey, Flex Zone Podcast. Thanks for being here. We also have another one of my amazing channel members, Jeff J. And I see Sean Coles in the building. Thank you both for being here and for being members of the channel. But this game right here that I'm watching between the Lions and the Green Bay Packers, it's kind of brings things into focus, right? Because when you talk about really good teams, great teams, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you have to be able to beat them. And no matter what team. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome to the family. But you have to be able to beat them. And right now, I got questions. I have questions. Shug, this needs to be a weekly show. Aren't you nice? Hey, Shug, how are you doing?
This will be a weekly show for the month of December as we bring you 31 consecutive days of content. We're going to end the year on a bang. After those 31 days are up, probably not. Because then we're going to start getting into the dull days of football. We're going to get into the playoff days, and the games are going to be sparing. The news is going to be weak, so it's not going to be a lot to talk about. We can come on here if you so choose, Shug, and talk about how the Ravens won the Super Bowl. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to talk about that week in and week out, because if we win the Super Bowl, I'm going to do a weekly show just saying, hey guys, we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, a 5-minute stream, just here to remind you, just in case you forgot, in case you missed it.
Don't you start, JT.
See, Just Tornado is starting to agree with Shug. Oh, see how it happens. But yeah, Jeff J said it. He's like, Hendo has Harbs figured out 100%. That's it. So wait, Osmond, you too? You're joining the bandwagon too, Osmond, about this daily? He said this needs to be a weekly show. He's like, no, you meant daily. It is daily for the month of December. Yes, fam. Thank you.
Whoa, daily. Content is daily. Live streaming is not.
It might be. Who knows? You never know.
We have been streaming since the first, haven't we? We've done a show like every day since the first, right?
Just about. Yes.
Ooh.
Touché. Wow.
Touché. Oh, welcome back. What's going on, Chef?
The Chef 87. Thank you for joining. Good evening. If the Ravens don't make a deep playoff run, Harb's got to go. Let me ask you because it varies from person to person. What is a deep playoff run to you? And everyone in the chat weigh in. If the Ravens don't win blank, this year would have been, for naught. If we don't win the AFC I'm going to lay the foundation. If we don't win AFC championship, obviously if we don't win the Super Bowl, but if we don't win blank, this year would have been just basically, a waste.
It's Talladega Nights, baby. If you're not first, you're last. And we've been last for a little bit too long. AFC Championship game, this is not a year for us to be stagnant.
No.
Oh, yeah, yay, we made another AFC Championship. Cool. We were one game away. I think that may hurt a little bit more than losing in the first or second round because you're just one game away from that goal. You're one game away from people being able to not talk about Lamar as much and say, well, Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, so he's better than Lamar. Is he really? He's balling out of control, but what people tend not to talk about with Joe Burrow is his turnovers. And even if you watched the Hard Knocks, you saw the fumbles. One fumble was returned for a touchdown. So all the good that he's doing, he's giving the ball right back. So, yeah, if it's not a Super Bowl, if we don't make it to a Super Bowl and win it, I don't want to just go there. We're undefeated in Super Bowl. So I want to keep that momentum going and win every time that we get there. So if we do not make it to a Super Bowl, John got to go.
But the question I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
I was going to ask, does John Harbaugh have to go? Is it automatic? He has to go if we make it to, let's say, first round of the playoffs and we're an exit. Is it automatic that he has to go? Or is it automatic that if we make it to the AFC Championship and lose, he has to go? Like, which one triggers more of a hot seat conversation?
Are we talking ownership or are we talking fans?
We're talking about ownership because at this point, I want to know what do we think the ownership will actually do? Because we as fans, we kind of just come on here and we vent our frustrations, but the people in charge, will John Harbaugh be on the hot seat if the Ravens are a first round exit? Or will John Harbaugh only be on the hot seat if we make it to the playoffs or the Super Bowl and don't win it all?
No, like they're saying, we would have to have a first round exit, first game exit, then he would go. If we make it back to another AFC Championship, that gives the ownership reason to say, listen, we may not have made it to our ultimate goal, but what's happening is we're steadily building momentum to getting to that Super Bowl. We've built some consistency, and Steve Bisciotti loves consistency and continuity, so that gives them an excuse to keep him. Because how do you go in and say, hey, you just fired a coach that took your team to 2 straight AFC championship games? It's kind of like the argument to me when the Ravens won a Super Bowl in 2000. And then the next year they moved on from Trent Dilfer. My brother, who is a Steelers fan, he's like, y'all so stupid. Trent Dilfer was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And my argument to him was he was terrible. Yes, he won a Super Bowl. They won in spite of Trent Dilfer. He was a part of the team, but they had to get better. They knew that they couldn't stay stagnant and continue going with Trent Dilfer as a quarterback. They needed to do better. So the same thing with John Harbaugh. We cannot continue to just go to the playoffs, maybe win a game or two, possibly, and then go home. If he's not bringing us championships, what is he here for? Now, my question is this. Do we sacrifice a championship to get John Harbaugh fired?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one because you understand that our team can and probably will look a lot different next year. And different doesn't always mean better. Okay. Mm-hmm. Different just means different. Because if you were to ask me, our O-line is going to look different next year. Is it better than it was last year? It's not.
But the argument is going to be, Faalele has a year of experience under his belt. Andrew Voorhees, he's played a year. He's more acclimated to the NFL scene.
Ronnie Stanley finally fully healthy and can play a full season. I get all the.
They're gonna make all of these excuses, but when do you say enough is enough? I'm tired of seeing the same thing from this team year in and year out. We arguably have, and it's an argument for some, not an argument for me. We arguably have the best player in the NFL. We have arguably the best safety in the NFL. Yeah. Marlon Humphrey is balling out of control this season.
He is.
Roquan Smith is arguably a top five linebacker. Travis Jones is ascending as a defensive tackle. Justin Madubuike is Justin Madubuike. I'm sorry, Nnamdi Madubuike is Nnamdi Madubuike.
Kyle Hamilton.
You know what I'm saying? So we have the pieces, and we brought in Derrick Henry. You know what
That's
I'm
why I
saying?
say we have that's the frustrating part with this team. We have so many good weapons on the field. We have so many great players that should be able to get the job done. I was interacting with several Eagles fans over the last couple of days, responding to. I thought Hendo was finally going to get.
I did the last
He's
string. I
going
did the
to.
last string. I did the last string.
Right, and then you came back with something mean like 30 seconds later. But Eagles fans they said, to be honest, on paper, you are the better team. Just by if we just weigh everything being equal,
Right.
but we just can't seem to get it done. That to
Let
me
that
falls on the head coach. So
let that sink in. Nick Sirianni outcoached John Harbaugh,
yes, yep.
and he's not really that good.
Well, he's good enough to get it done against the Baltimore Ravens in 2024 regular season. So he
But
has that. He has
you know,
that.
but the one thing I will give him credit for is he has no loyalty. And I know that in certain situations and instances, that's a bad thing. But he had a defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator last season that sucked. I'm sorry, he had a couple defensive coordinators last season that sucked. And he went out and he got better.
Right.
And now they're playing 10 times better than they were last season. John Harbaugh would never do that. John Harbaugh would never say, you know what, I got to get better. I got to bring somebody in here that can kind of take advantage of the talent that we have, make them better, and get us where we need to be. He's never going to do that, because if they do that, he in his mind, he's thinking he's going to be replaced. But to me, if I bring in the best collection of talent that I can to coach these players up, we're not losing. And I keep my job. So I'm not worried about what could happen in the future. Stop worrying about yourself and worry about this team. Stop worrying about what's going to happen in your future and what's going to happen to the future of the Baltimore Ravens. You say you love Lamar and he could be the best quarterback that's ever lived. Help him get there. Do the best for him. Do right by that man, but you refuse to do so because you're too worried about your ego and you're too worried about not doing it your way, which has proven for the last 12 years to be championshipless.
Yeah. I see so many people are making really good points, from Nana to Killer Cam, Just Tornado, my nephew's little runt team can outcoach Harbaugh. The trenches, absolutely. For the Eagles are flat out handling business. And when you have great players, good, solid O-line, D-line, that relieves so much pressure for the remainder of the players on the field. We don't really have that on both sides. Now, our D-line, okay, I give them credit. I give them credit. But as Lenny Beeson just said, hey, Lenny, he said it. That's our biggest issue, the O-line. That's it. Hey there, Agro Valley Farm. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Glad you are here. Justin Lewis, thank you for being here. Robert. But all right, team, family. Third quarter is underway. Whew. Yeah. Watching this game really, makes me wonder, can the Ravens figure it out? And there's not much time, because usually we hear, oh, it's just the second game of the season. Oh, it's only week 3. It's only week 4. We're well beyond it's only week blank. They don't have a lot of time. Time is not on our side right now. We have to figure it out. We have to stay healthy. I see Killer Cam mentioning Travis's injury, but we have to stay healthy, number one. And then we have to limit the penalties, which we did a much better job against the Eagles. We only had 4, right? But it wasn't just that. Now we have even bigger concerns. Justin Tucker. And we're not going to get started on that, because we could be here for the remainder of this game talking about that. But yeah. Robert said, Derrick Henry has 1,000 yards. The O-line can run block. I think Derrick Henry has 1,000 yards because Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, and he's still got it. So I feel, but to your point, there have been instances where Derrick Henry has been successful behind this O-line. But the more I think about it, there have been more times where if we had better O-line play, perhaps some of the outcomes, some of the L's that we took, we might not have needed to take them. especially early on in the season when John Harbaugh doubled down and was like, we didn't bring Derrick Henry to carry the ball 25 times.
Yeah, I mean, listen, have they blocked in games versus weaker defensive lines?
Sure.
They've shown out, but against the really good defenses in the NFL, like you said, there are losses that could have been prevented because we abandoned the run because he was getting stuffed 2 or 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. If you look at that Eagles game, I did a video and I was talking about the offensive line, and I put about 15 highlights in that video. 13 of those highlights were from the first half. Lowlights were from the first half of Derrick Henry getting stuffed behind the line of scrimmage, Lamar getting chased down. That was in the first half. I didn't even cover the second half. So a lot of this has a lot to do with Derrick Henry. Some of it has to do with the offensive line. Once again, once they play weaker defenders, yeah, they're decent. They're solid. But when you start getting against these playoff type defenses, they don't run block very well. And Derrick Henry breaks a lot of tackles. And somebody said it, like yards after contact, or Derrick Henry just outrunning somebody. But more importantly, you have the threat of Lamar Jackson running the ball, and that takes a defense one way, and then you go the other with Derrick Henry. So that frees a man up. So,
yeah. Go Man said he's so excited that everything is ahead of us because we really have a good chance of winning. We can really win the AFC North.
we can. I mean, listen,
I don't know about that though. I mean, yes, can we? Is there a possibility? Sure. We just need to start winning our games, and we need the Pittsburgh Steelers to start losing. So there is a path, but how realistic is that path? That's my question. Sure.
All we need are two things. We just need the Cleveland Browns to beat Pittsburgh on Sunday, and they did it last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever. So that has been proven to be done this season with Jameis Winston. But more importantly, the week after, we have to beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore. If we do that, I think that we can take care of Houston. I think we can take care of Cleveland. And then that gives us the AFC North title. So it's a strong possibility.
I don't know that we can beat Cleveland. I don't know.
That. I can imagine you just sitting at home. You ain't have to laugh like that, though. What's up, Dot Dot?
Hopefully we can. Hi there, Dot Dot. Welcome into the show. Thank you. Yeah, Go Man, that's right. We just need to handle our business. We've shown that we can do it. We have the players. We have the playmakers to get it done. Coaching, we will have to really win despite the flaws, despite the foibles, despite the errors.
The foibles?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly.
Yep. So despite all of that, and here comes Shug, laugh out loud, not happening.
Now that's the big one. This is the biggest one. We got to get rid of that Pittsburgh hump.
That's true. Oh,
that's right. The Steelers have to play KC and the Eagles.
That's why I said it's possible. It's certainly possible for the Ravens to take the AFC North, but I mean, yeah.
But we still need help.
Guru, we need to stop worrying about other teams and just focus on us.
We still need help, though.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Trey, is if we focus on us, we've dug ourselves into a hole that we can't just focus on us. We need help to get to where I was just talking in reference to what Go Man was saying, that, we can win the AFC North. So in order for that to happen, we can't just focus on us. At that point, it becomes we need some help from the Steelers to start just kind of, losing. And that would be a good time. Now would be a great time for the Steelers to start doing just that.
What's going on?
Well, thank you all so much for joining. Thanks for being here. This was a really short stream tonight. And I'm going to go now watch the remainder of this game. It is a close one. 17-14. Lions are up by a field goal. Mm-hmm. So we've got work to do, but we have some time. We do have some time as Ravens fans. So let's keep cheering our team on, and let's keep the faith. Yeah, let's do that. So we will see you back very, very soon. Thank you all so much for joining, and have a good night.
And you say very soon. Are you talking about tomorrow?
Absolutely. Very soon means we'll see you tomorrow. That's code for, they'll be back tomorrow.
Jared Goff interception. Oh, snap. Okay. Tomorrow?
Tomorrow. It's only a day away.
All right. I guess we'll see you then. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Listen, make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends.
Absolutely.
It helps us out a ton. Listen, if you want to, both of us have channel memberships. You can do that. Also, I have a Patreon. It's in the chat somewhere. If you want to support the channel even further, go ahead. If not, understandable. I get it. It's holiday time. But what better gift can you give than the gift of giving out a membership to somebody or a Patreon? Join the family, join what we have going on. And we will see you again probably tomorrow.
Yes.
Later.